Welcome back to the Sugar Side podcast, everybody, and happy Sunday. I feel like Garrett only dances on the weekends, which is fair.
That's true.
But
Our Wednesday recordings, I'm like, okay.
yeah, dude.
Just
Middle of the
start.
work week, you are not doing a happy dance. You should dance only on weekends, and we won't say what day we're recording, and we'll see if people pick up on clips.
Yeah.
To see if it's like that's a
The
weekend
dancing
episode.
days
Yeah.
are weekends. What if I accidentally dance on a Wednesday?
That will be the surprise. Everyone's got to wait
You're
and
not going
see
to
if
catch
you
me
if you
dancing
trick
on
'em.
Wednesdays, honestly.
There's no way.
No.
There's no way. All right. Well, either way, happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. Buddy, how you feeling with your happy dance over there?
Cold, but
Hmm.
I did just get my heater repaired, so the house is doing better, but I still am running the space heater because my office is in the basement, so it is, even with the heater running, it is perpetually cold down here. We're supposed to have a pretty mild December, which is good news for my golf game, but it is still cold, so
Yeah. Mild usually just means not a lot of snow. Doesn't
yeah,
mean
we're
not
supposed
cold.
to get way more like in February, which sucks, dude. I wish that
Yeah.
I prefer getting all of my snow out of the way in December and January. If it's still going and it's going hard in February, oh my gosh.
Dude,
It's-
that's
it
so
sucks a
funny.
little bit.
We've never talked about like a weather dynamic, but that's me and California summers, especially where I live in California. It's like get my hot weather out of the way in May and June so I can enjoy a September that's not 98 degrees. Cause like, if not, if summer starts in August and like, you know this, it's 90 degrees on Halloween. And I'm like, bro, I have to put a costume on. Like, this is
Yeah.
disgusting. I'm
You're
like,
all
just give it to me
sweaty
right
and-
away. I'll slave
Yeah.
through it.
Uh-huh.
I'll push through.
I know. I know how it goes.
But anyway, that is not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about a lot of things today, and I'm excited.
Plenty of things.
Plenty of things.
A plethora of things, if you could, if you will.
A cornucopia of things, if you will. We're starting with reality show check-in.
I'm still
because-
thinking of synonyms.
I had to stop myself.
Yeah.
We should make that a game one of these days. That'd be funny. A synonym
Just see
game
how
would be
long
awesome.
we could go.
Yeah.
The whole podcast is us. Just, yeah.
So we're starting with reality shows today. And I'm going to begin with a little recap / rant part 2 of Dancing with the Stars, because that just wrapped up about a week ago or so. I actually, and we'll get to this in a second, but I had Garrett watch a couple of the final dances so that he had a little bit more context as to how the show ended and some different things that went on there. So
Now, audience, first, I want to preface this. I think that I have established myself so far. We have 10 episodes out. This is episode 11. I
out.
think that after 10 hours of content, it is well established that I am the ranter. I am the angry one, okay? Like, I get heated.
Yeah.
And when Tré brought this up, he was heated. He was ready to go, dude. Throw hands. And I'm pumped to see Tré be angry and rant a little bit about something that bothered him, because gosh, I feed off of it.
You know, I've learned over the years to not rage and rant as much about most things. But there are some things that I'm going to stand on a hill for, and performance and skill level in a competitive game like this, I will stand on till the day I die. And to me, this brings up a reason why I don't necessarily love Dancing with the Stars as much as I would like to. But anyway, let me get into it. So,
Or that you used to. Would you say, like, because didn't you talk about on one of these episodes that at a certain point it was more based in the competitive side of it, where nobody was really a great dancer,
yeah.
but that they fought for it, at least, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they would go for it for sure, but like you got some really good performances, but it was more so like everyone was less technical because
Right.
no one had dance experience. And
Uh-huh.
now that they have people who are coming on that have dance experience consistently, it's becoming this kind of tug of war of like, is the popularity contest thing like, are we still going for that? And if we are, then why are we having amazing dancers on there? We might as well
Can
not because
yeah. Can you remind me real fast? How do people get voted out? Is it like
it's America's
the
vote. So it's the
oh,
judges
okay.
give scores for every
Yeah, like,
dance.
so it's like American Idol.
Basically, it's like, but the judges give scores out of 10,
Huh.
and then America votes, and they claim that it's a like somehow they equate and mix the judges' scores with America's votes for each person and then decide who goes home. But like they've never revealed how the two mix together. And like you have people who go home who got the highest judges' score. So then I'm like, did they really get the lowest America vote? Like that seems crazy. I feel like it's more America's vote than anything else, is what it seems like. And that's also why it bothers me, because I'm like, dancers who
That
are
sounds
better go
that sounds
home.
like a load of barnacles.
Yeah, I heard that, like ABC's yelling at me.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
care.
that's right.
I don't care. But anyway, to recap last episode, I mentioned this. The last time I talked about Dancing with the Stars, I mentioned that Whitney from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives went home the episode and the same week that her show came out, her other show came out. And it was clear that the picture that was painted on Mormon Wives bled into who America voted for on Dancing with the Stars, and she went home that week. And I think it's ironic that ABC produces both shows because they both air on Hulu, which is also why it was crazy that they came out at the same time. It felt like a really odd choice, but maybe not. So the finalists that were favored to win the most going into the show were Robert Irwin and Alex Earl. And Alex Earl did great all season too. I loved her dances all season. I thought her and Whitney were my favorite all season. Um, Robert represented the old Dancing with the Stars theme. He came in with no dancing experience. He was always energetic and he got a lot better. And I will give him the credit that to be a leading man in a dance and make it entertaining is hard, because when your pro is a female, she's going to look better than you. The whole dance is for you to lead her and make her look awesome. So like it's always harder for a male to succeed in Dancing with the Stars because you don't watch him. You watch her versus like the female contestants, the male pros make them look really good and their choreography is really good. And so you end up watching the celebrity more. And I feel like that can also kind of sway what you think of them. But either
Okay.
way, he improved a lot and I was impressed with him overall. His sister won in a previous season as well.
I didn't
Bindi
even know
won
he
when
had
she
a
was on it.
sister.
Yeah, he has an older sister.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was always kind of this legacy thing where like they always wanted him to go on, even when he was like a little kid after Bindi went on and won. And now this was his time to go on the show. So it was
Gotcha.
always kind of that America's favorite from the start, just because of the legacy bit of it. And spoiler alert, he ended up winning the show, which Garrett watched his final dance. We didn't watch Alex's final dance, but we watched Robert's, and it was fine. I mean,
I I thought it was totally fine.
it
Like,
was
it
fine.
wasn't anything spectacular.
No, and again, I think like it's hard to make a male look good when he's supposed to be the lead. You look at his frames, you look at how he leads her, you look whether he's anticipating the choreography. Like there are things you watch for, but it's not going to blow your head off unless he's like out of this world amazing. And celebrities just aren't going to get that good as a man. But anyway,
When I saw that, I was paying attention for repeated moves because
mm,
you talked to me before about how, like, throughout his dances, he kind of did the same thing, like, with,
hmm,
like, a jump in this or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And so even in this finale one, I was like, he seems to be kind of doing the same things.
yeah, yeah. He's athletic. He's an athletic
Sure.
guy. He can jump really well. But my wife and I have this rule in our household when we're judging dances. Tricks don't get you extra points. That's not dancing. Some people can backflip, some people can't. Some people can jump really high, some people can't. I don't care. It looks cool, but I'm not going to say your dance is better than hers because you did a flip and she didn't. Or
Right,
like
okay.
he jumped and like landed a pose and he didn't. I'm not going to do that because that takes in like an unfair advantage of some people that others just don't have. So yes, your speculation is correct. I feel like he did a lot of the same things, and especially as you watch the season, he didn't evolve in that way very much, but I feel like his dance skill kind of plateaued a bit. So he won the show, and Alex came in second. Jordan Childs, I believe is her name, Olympic gymnast. She was there too. She did really well. People didn't like her dance very much. She did a hip hop dance. I won't get into that opinion today because I'm gonna get canceled. But I think she did a really good job, and I enjoyed her season as well. And her pro cracks me up. All of that to say, if you guys didn't catch it, Whitney released her final dance on the Call Her Daddy podcast after the finale aired. And some speculate that it wouldn't have been the same dance if she was still on the show. Body, body, ba. If you haven't watched it, go watch it
Trey
because
made me watch it.
yeah, those are the only two we watched were Roberts and Whitney's. And if I wasn't already upset about Whitney going home and I started to get over it, it reignited the fire inside my chest because that's the winner, dude. If
Yeah.
I showed you that dance and didn't tell you who was who between pro and celebrity and you watched it, you would have a hard time figuring out who was the celebrity. Guaranteed. She was next level good. And for her to go home on a popularity contest makes me so angry. I know people are going to say, go watch So You Think You Can Dance. I watch that too. But then don't put good dancers on Dancing with the Stars if that's what you want it to be. If you don't want it to be that, then don't set it up for it to be that because then you're just going to disappoint fans that actually like dancing.
Yeah. I between the two,
Mm-hmm.
I'm of the camp that if I'm watching a performative dance anything,
Mm-hmm.
that the whole reason that dance exists is to tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
And between the two, Whitney's, I was like, there's a little bit of a narrative to her song choice, to the dance, to the choreography with the phones and everything that was there.
Did
I'm
you
like,
catch
there's
the song?
say
That's
again.
the song when they had the phones over her and she like passed out and
Yeah, yeah,
died.
yeah.
That's the theme song from her show.
Oh, okay. I
So,
didn't
like,
I
she
didn't put
even
that
tied that
together.
into it, that, like, it's the theme song to her show as they're, like, filming her and doing stuff with the phones because they blew up on TikTok. Like, it was layered, dude.
Gotcha.
It was
Yeah, no.
really, really good choreography.
And I understand that like this finale was supposed to be a freestyle so they could kind of do whatever they want, but I
Mhm.
still think that you should craft some sort of story into your dance instead. Otherwise, I'm just watching you jiggle around on on stage, and I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, I don't really
yeah,
care. So like
yeah,
it adds a little bit of like when the layers are there, the dance is elevated for me, right? Like
yeah.
I'm not nearly as big of a dance fan as you, so tell me if I'm, like, totally off with that opinion, but I just,
No, no, dance is supposed to
that's
make
how
you
I
feel
was
something.
thinking when we watched those 2.
Dance is supposed to make you feel something, and granted, I will say that, obviously, there was a theme, especially with his sister been on the show before, that everyone on the show loves Steve Irwin, and so do I. And let me preface this by saying I love Steve Irwin so much and did as a kid so much that after he died, I did a book report for school on his biography that told the story of his death. And I was like 9 years old. Okay. Like Steve Irwin
Yeah.
was my guy. I
Uh-huh.
love him. Oh, it pains me to say this. I feel like Robert kind of rode on the coattails of his dad's memory a little bit, a little bit. There was a bunch of moments that they mentioned it, but there was at least three dances where like it was brought up and he like cried over it. And it was kind of like I want to feel bad and I do, of course I do. But it was a little much. And to your point, I feel like that was the only story he had all
Right.
season. And so he couldn't do it again. But then you're just jingle jangling on stage because you don't have
Right.
a narrative anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
I like jingle jangling on
yeah,
stage. I'm
just
gonna start saying that.
I get it. But like, yeah. So I think you saw what I saw and everyone in the comments, let me know if I'm crazy, what you thought. I know a lot of people that I talked to loved Robert the entire season and wanted him to win from like day one. I think that's great. Like I said, he improved. It wasn't bad. It was fine. He was fine. But don't put real dancers on there then, because I'm gonna get
Right.
upset. Because I'm gonna get upset. Um. So yeah, that was. I feel like we were going to talk about Secret Lives too, but that was Dancing with the Stars recap. Either way, I look forward to next season. I don't know. We don't know who's going to be on it. Um,
Uh-huh.
but shout out to Whitney. Last thing, she recently announced that she is going to be in Chicago on Broadway after this Dancing with the Stars season. So obviously on to bigger and better, and she deserves it.
Thanks for
She's
coming up,
awesome.
Whitney.
Right. Yeah. Totally. Totally. Do you have a little Survivor
Of
recap to
course, I
shoot up?
have a little bit of Survivor. Survivor season 49 has, and I don't say this lightly, it had a great start,
Mm-hmm.
and it has, in my opinion, progressively gotten more boring.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
You kind of mentioned that
it's
last
frustrating.
season.
I
That's
last
continued?
season was boring
Or
from the
sorry,
start.
last episode when you talked about it, you kind of said the same thing. That's continued. It's still
It is
boring.
continued. I don't know what it is. Like it's a combination of a couple things. It's like the editing. I still have a problem with the editing. Um and I think that they got a little bit shy about certain things producer wise, because last season there was like a huge scandal because they went to a reward, and traditionally there are clues for advantages or idols or something at the rewards, like hidden in the food. Okay.
Mhm.
And last season they got in big trouble because they had nameplates set up so that they were like assigned seating, and the
Mm.
clue was in like a bowl that was right next to where this one person was sat, and it was like, so you just handed it to her, kind of thing,
Yeah,
instead
yeah.
of like, oh, you got to sneak it or like find it or whatever. It was right there. And now I'm noticing like there has not been any clues at the reward challenges for like any of it, because they're like, we're not doing that
We're not
again,
doing that at
like kind
all.
of
No.
thing. Yeah. um I don't know, the most recent episode had a pretty decent play, but I feel like the contestants are maybe a little not as bloodthirsty as I wish that they were.
Mm.
Like, my favorite Survivor players are the players that are like telling you things to your face and being super nice, and then as soon as it goes to the confessional, they're like, fuck this person. I'm voting them
Yeah.
out. I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Like, I like the snakes in the grass that are
Are they
just
just playing it safe?
vicious.
Are they just playing it safe this season?
Yeah, it kind of feels that way where like, I talked previously about that one episode where they talked and talked and talked about this play that they could make, and then they didn't do that and they went for the
Right.
very obvious play.
Right.
Um and I feel like that has continued where it's like
Mm.
when when the final 3 get to the end, I think that all 3 people, whoever they are at this point, are not going to have the resume that they think that they're going to have.
Mm.
It's really important at the end to be like, I used my idol well. I had this advantage that nobody knew about, or like I'm the reason why you got sent home, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like these players are gonna get there and be like, I played the game, and like, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
what do you want? And so I get nervous about that, because then when that happens, a lot of the time it kind of defaults to whoever has the best sob story,
Mm.
because the jury votes for you. So if you are like a struggling person, they're more likely to give it to you because of your story,
Yeah.
but not
Yeah, and
because
less
of
about
what
the
you
game.
did on the
Right.
show.
Right. Which,
Um,
like, that's all they can do if they don't have a resume to go off of.
and I'm gonna be frank, I don't know if any of them have a good enough sob story. Like last season, at least there was the one girl. She struggled with autism, and so that was a big part of her whole thing. Is like, I wanted to prove that anybody could play Survivor, and like, that my autism isn't a like disability in that sense
That's
of
cool.
being able to play.
Yeah.
And the other guy was like, I have 3 kids. This is for my kids, and like, that kind of stuff, and financial issues, whatever. And but I don't really feel that for this cast of characters. I don't know
Yeah.
like what's up, but maybe they have that sob story and they're just not playing up to it.
Mm.
But I don't know. That's usually a factor in Survivor. There's one of my favorite seasons. This is a sad story. One of my favorite seasons, his mom was dying.
Mhm.
And they ended up voting for him. He got the money. It was like a very cool, wholesome moment. And his mom died like a week later, which is
Oh my
very
god.
sad. Very
Yeah.
sad. But but I don't there's nobody that's been like, "My mom is dying, I need money," like, no
Yeah.
one, and so I'm like, I don't know if any of you deserve this. I don't
Yeah.
think that you're playing a good Survivor game, and I don't have any reason to be rooting for you.
Yeah. That's interesting. It's interesting too because, like, obviously they're casted. So, like, what
Yeah,
did the producers see in these people out of all the people that applied and said, "These are our people for this season?" Like, obviously, those stories are predetermined as, like, "Oh, this is a good one. I feel like they deserve to be on the show." But it's like,
I'll tell you what the producers were thinking. The
mm,
producers were thinking, because this is true, that this cast is very charismatic and, like, camera ready. Like, they're very good at talking and, like,
gotcha.
and so the social game is there, uh,
But they're
and,
boring.
yeah, I mean, they're charming, like, the one guy, his name is Rizzo, but he calls himself Riz God, and he spells it out every time, Rizgod, Riz God, you know, kinda thing, and that's funny. But that's not enough for me, man. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I can laugh every time he goes Riz God and be like, haha, Riz God.
It ma
But
it makes me laugh because I picture you on the jury, and this is, like, your speech as to why you can't vote for him. You're like, "But that's not enough for me, man. I
no,
can't
dude.
just take Rizga."
No, dude. You know, I
Oh,
would vote for Jizz
that's
God if
funny.
I if it was enough, but it's not.
It's not.
So I don't know. I'm bored. I'm
Oh, man.
disappointed that I know that 2 of these players have already been casted to return for season 50. So I'm
Oh,
like, yeah, I'm like, if I know that they're already recasted for season 50, that they must go pretty far and, like, you know, do well this season to or have enough like of a backing from the producers or something.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so
That's interesting that they would release that. Do they always do
yeah,
that?
it takes some of the tension out of this season, you
Totally.
know?
Yeah.
A little update on the game that my wife and I are playing because I talk about it every time that we choose 3 players at the very start of the season that we think are going to make it to the end. I still have 2 players in the game,
Mhm.
um,
And it was your
and
same
I
2.
am
You haven't lost anyone
dude.
else.
I am liking my odds of both of these players making it to the end less and less every episode. I'm like, "Man, you guys are struggling." And if one of them makes it to the end, I'm like, "You have no chance of winning."
Mm.
Because of the resume problem.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like, you s sliding by every vote and kind of like being the person that nobody thinks of is not enough to be like, "I won Survivor." It's like you were there.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So,
you were there the whole
that's
time. You might
yeah,
lose
that's
to
my
Riz
problem
God.
right now. The challenges have not been that interesting. There have been, like, maybe 1 or 2 where I was like, "That looks hard."
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know, man. Old school Survivor was definitely a lot more cutthroat, and
Mm.
I miss a little bit of that ruthlessness. You know, one of my favorite players is well, one of everyone's favorite players is Boston Rob. He was on the show like 3 or 4 times, right? So, like, I got to see him play several times.
Mhm.
And he is a genius when it comes to lying to your face and then laughing at the cameras, like, when he's just like, "I'm not doing any of that." And, like and he just totally double crosses, stabs people in the back. It does not matter. He was, like, a finalist, like, 3 times, okay?
Wow.
Like, it just goes to show that that's what it takes, I think, to
Yeah.
be a great Survivor player. So if I was ever on the show I think that like the sociopathic, psychopathic tendencies would definitely like be elevated, where it'd be like, no, dude, I have no empathy for. I'm on a competition.
Yeah.
You guys are
And it's
playing
not real
kumbaya
life.
around the campfire. I'm
Yeah,
like, I'm in it
yeah,
for $1 million. I
totally.
would kill. Like if I was on the show, I'm like, I'm voting you out tonight
Yeah.
and strangle them
Yeah.
in their sleep.
I was gonna say, I like I would love for you to be on the show and there's just like fly on the wall cameras everywhere and there's always a shot of you just like smiling behind people in the corner. Like I
Yeah,
feel like
yeah,
you
yeah.
would just be like a spirit around that
Dude,
show, like always present.
I would turn Survivor into The Office, where every time that I'm talking to someone, I would just turn to the camera and be like,
Yeah. In the middle of their sentence.
yeah, exactly. Oh my god. No, I think that I would play Survivor much differently than the last several seasons that I've watched, where I don't know, I miss some of the evil
Yeah.
that took place.
I wonder why that
There's a
switch has
character,
been
there's a guy
consistent.
named Russell, and
Mhm.
Russell is evil, dude. Like, he was one of the biggest assholes on the planet, but he thrived on Survivor because,
Yeah.
like, that's just what it would take. He would cultivate like a harem of loyal women and like be like, no, you're my number one, you're my number one, and he just just throw him away like garbage at every chance. And I miss that. I miss it.
Yeah.
So
Why would
yeah,
they
I don't
change
know.
that?
Survivor,
Like, why do you
a little
think
bit of a miss right now for me, but I'm gonna see it through to the. I'm a mega fan, so I'm
you
gonna
gotta
keep
watch it?
watching it. But I'm just disappointed.
Why do you think, that switch has been consistent the past few seasons? Like, why are people playing the game differently?
Gosh, I really don't know. It could be producer influence. I always am thinking, like, how often are the producers dipping their fingers in and being like, now talk about this, or go talk to
Yeah.
this person about this thing,
I feel like the
or
more time goes
whatever.
on, all reality shows are more and more scripted,
Yeah,
more
right.
than they
And
used to
so
be.
so I'm not sure. I'm really not sure because a lot of these people coming on claim that they're mega fans and like that they've watched all of it and all this and whatever, but then they play really nice.
Yeah. That's
I
interesting.
I would not play very nice, I think. I think I would
I don't
have a
think you
fun time
can.
being a jerk.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter, you're in a bubble, like, it's not real life. I mean, it's $1,000,000, like, they'll hate you after the show, but, like, who cares? You got $1,000,000, we're all playing the same game.
No, like Trey, I've got like 3 friends and they've been my 3 friends for years,
Yeah.
okay? I'm not going on Survivor to make new friends.
Right, right.
I'm
Not at
I'm there
all.
for the money.
For the money,
Give me
bro.
the money. I'm there to kill people. I'm never gonna see those fuckos ever again. I'm gonna take my money and I'm gonna run. Yeah,
Get
goodbye.
the fuck outta here.
I'm out.
That's so funny,
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
so funny.
no.
Oh, man. Okay, so how long do we have left on this season of Survivor?
I think it's what, 6 people left?
Okay,
So 3 more like vote outs and then the finale with the final 3.
beautiful.
Um,
Okay, so I look forward to hearing about this finale and see if it turns out the way that you suspect or if anything changes. Because it sounds
no,
like it's gonna be anticlimactic, but maybe they'll
I
surprise
don't
you.
know. In my mind, there are still moves to be made.
Mm,
But it's on them to make it because
yeah,
right now
yeah.
they have not been making any of the moves that I have been calling out where I'm like, you should do this, this, this. They're not doing it.
Mm,
So there are still moves to be made. There are items in play like advantages that haven't been used yet, idols that haven't been used yet. So there are ways to manipulate the vote still, but it's on them to do it. I right now hear my words. I am predicting that Rizzo will get voted out with the idol in his pocket because he's had the idol for like 4 episodes now, and
wow.
he's a cocky son of a bitch, and he's not gonna play it. And I think that it's gonna come down to Rizzo's not gonna play his idol, so we're gonna vote him out.
Mm,
He's gonna be overconfident. I'm like, mark my words. Uh,
yeah. So we'll have
if
to
that
see.
doesn't happen, okay, all right, my bad. But I'm calling it just
Stay
because it's
tuned.
been a pattern so far.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
All right, my
Let's
friend.
pass the sugar,
Let's pass
baby.
the sugar. So this one's gonna be a little quicker. Probably not. I always say that first, but we never mean it.
And
Um,
we never mean it.
so Garrett, and it's not just with me. I'm not gonna make this personal. He is the king of shows and the king of movies, but he watches the things he wants to. And he is the
You
worst
nailed me. You got me
at
perfect.
taking recommendations from people and actually watching them. He gets to them super late. And this recommendation, I remember I begged him. I said, Garrett, please watch this show. You will not regret it. You will love it. And it is none other than Netflix's Blue Eyed Samurai. And I bring this up because as of last week, he watched it and he texted me and said, I'm so sorry. It was
That's
really
usually how it
good.
goes, dude. It took me like 5 years to watch John Wick just because
Yeah.
someone recommended it to me. And that's one of my favorite movies. So like yeah, it does happen frequently where someone recommends it to me and then like 2 years later I'll be like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
My bad.
we watched we watched Blue Eyed Samurai, and we're going to talk about our review of season 1 a little bit because with 2026 coming up, season 2 already had a teaser that came out and all it said was it's in production and it's to release in 2026. We don't have an official date on it yet, so we might be a little early, but because he just watched it and it's fresh, we wanted to get our opinions on it out there, and that way we can make it into a series later when season 2 comes out. So, buddy, why don't you start us off? What do you think of Blue Eyed Samurai season 1?
I got to lean in for this one.
Okay.
Fuck, dude, Blue Eye Samurai was really good.
It's really fucking good,
I
dude.
I'm a judgy person,
I
okay?
know.
And
I know.
when I see an anime style show in 3D,
Mhm.
I get really nervous because
Yeah.
one of my least favorite adaptations of all time is the 3D animated Berserk adaptation. I think that's a load of garbage, and Berserk is one of my favorite like pieces of media of all time.
Yeah.
So I get really tiptoey around that where I'm like, I'm not gonna like it just because of the animation. And boy, I wrong. I was wrong. I'm sorry,
Dead
okay?
wrong,
This
dude.
it wasn't just that the story like made up for the animation. The animation was really good.
It's really good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so it was a two hit punch for me. I was like, story, animation, very good, and I was just like, my bad, dude. I
2
felt
thumbs.
very sheepish when I texted you that. I was like, yeah, I probably should have watched this when he told me to. Um, I really like Blue Eye Samurai. I think that it evoked several things in me. I was like, this reminds me of Sifu, one of my favorite video games. This reminds me of Avatar: The Last Airbender. It reminds
Totally.
me of Samurai Champloo. It reminds me of like a lot of different things
Mhm.
um, into this story with the characters that I found interesting. Um, I mean, so here's the other thing I'll say, right? I wouldn't say that this is the most original thing I've ever seen. Like, it's a
Yeah.
revenge story. It's a
Right.
and we talked about tropes and anime tropes, and all of those exist here.
Totally.
Uh,
Yeah.
but it's just so dang good. I don't care.
And it's
Like,
I'll say this,
yeah,
like, yes, there are tropes that you can compare it to, and there are tropes that it took inspiration from, absolutely. But this is how you take that same trope and make it something different. It's different enough. The idea that Imperial Japan had a hatred for white people to where anyone who was mixed race was seen as less than is a real story. And I think
yeah,
we haven't seen that animated, and I thought that was such a cool chip on her shoulder to have throughout, to where the revenge story was unique in its own way. Like, you don't
yeah,
see, there's millions of revenge stories out there, but this one was unique because it was, like, deeply rooted and personal, and it wasn't the same, like, story told over and over again, and it had historical grounding. Like, I'm sure that's how it was. And I feel
well,
like
and historical grounding with the whole premise of
yeah,
like when Japan closed off its borders and white people were not allowed in, trade
right.
was not allowed.
Right.
Um, So the whole premise of like guns are coming into Japan, like that was all based in reality, and I love historical accuracies.
Hmm.
I'm sure that there were plenty of inaccuracies with this show that I'm like
Sure.
ignorant
Yeah.
to, but at the same time, it had enough of a historical context that it added to the show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And even like the tie-in of her gender reveal and that being another layer of why she was less than. And we didn't know that for a few episodes. And her tie-in with Tengen being her childhood bully and now he's the rival. Like I feel like there was just a lot of like they packed a lot into this first season. It felt like an entire anime series without an ending. Like there was a lot of twists, there was a lot of turns, there was a lot of drama that happened between characters, growth that happened with characters that I feel like they did a really good job at playing the game of we don't know if we're coming back after this first season, so we got
Yeah,
to
that's
catch
true.
people's attention right away, and it was really really well done. I loved. We've talked about Mizu's growth a few times off camera, um, and I love her growth throughout the season, but I also love going into season two that her anger is still there. She's just gonna use it better, or at least it seems that way.
Yeah, like
Anyway,
there's enough growth that happens that like you care for her, but at the same time her resolution hasn't changed, and like uh and so like it still adds for opportunities for further growth. Like
totally.
if she did all of her growing in season 1, then the next season whatever would be boring,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
cuz then you're just dealing with a like perfected character.
No,
Um
she.
you know,
I mean,
we
her
we
anger has
talked
taken
about
her
Mizu's character
far away.
growth, but there was more characters. Like all of them go on an interesting journey, like even characters that I didn't like at first. I did not like Ringo at first. I did not like Akemi at first,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
by the end of the show, when Akemi, I'm gonna maybe we should dip into some spoilers. Should we say spoilers and just like talk a little
Sure.
bit about
Yeah,
it?
yeah, 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 yeah. Okay,
I
so
don't want to get
spoiler
too
alert,
intense
the
because I
show is
want
2
you
years
guys to
old.
watch it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. The show is 2 years old. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's worth it, and come back to this episode when you're ready for season 2. But anyway, spoiler alert.
Yeah,
Let's
here's
talk about
so
Akemi.
at the end of the show, after Akemi goes on this whole journey of like not wanting to get married and blah blah blah, like I found all of that to be kind of boring at first, right? But at the end, when Tegan's like, "We can go, let's just run away and live a life like together. I don't need to be great." When Tegan says, "I don't need to be great," that's
Yeah,
character growth for him
for
because
sure.
he wanted to be great and now he's like okay with more of a humble life,
As long as
around
he's with
him.
her. He figured
But
out what
then
matters.
Akemi stands up and the fire is behind her and she goes, "I want to be great." I'm like, "Oh, this is her villain arc."
Yeah,
Like,
bro.
like she
Yeah.
she had a totally different turn than what I expected from her at the beginning of the show, and now I find her interesting.
Yeah.
So
I
like
think
that's the cool part about the show is that all of these characters are going on some sort of trajectory that is interesting for them individually. If it was all
totally.
just focused on Mizu, I think the show would be less for that. But because everyone is
Absolutely.
more interesting, it's cool.
Yeah, yeah. And I think she has Akemi has a really cool arc of a statement on arranged marriages and women's rights and these things that obviously at the time were not talked about at all. But going into a villain arc of like her soon to be husband, who's like the head of this dojo and this like prodigy in the martial arts and all this different stuff, for him to step down as she steps up is like a big statement and such a 180 for her, like in a lot of different ways. That'll be interesting to see, especially with her. I don't remember his name, but the gentleman that raised her like
He's dead.
assistant. No, no, I know, no, no. But like when he said to her, yeah, he's dead. When I
Spoilers.
spoilers, when he said to her that like you're the only one who deserves to rule Japan, and then for her to have that statement after, like I feel like she took that to heart, and I'm interested and excited to see where that takes her in season 2.
Well, and the lady, that runs the brothel is the one that told her, like, "You don't want to be married to this guy that you think is cruel, like, you're his wife, like, learn all of his weaknesses and you control him."
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
because she's still married to the son of the shogun. The shogun
right.
dies,
Yeah,
but so, like, he is still in a powerful leadership position
totally.
and she's still alive, so they could stay together, and while he's the head or whatever, she's leading it from the shadows.
Right, right.
Um,
And making
and I think
change.
that yeah, the, like, actual power dynamic is actually in her hands.
Mhm,
Um, I don't know, man, I think that there's a lot of heart in the show. I think that the action is really cool. I think, I mean there's that scene, towards the end when she's got the, white guy, that she wants to kill,
mhm, mhm.
like, pinned up and, like, everything's burning down around her and everything, and he's like, "After all of this, like, you still just want to kill me, like, your revenge is crazy, but that's the white in you." That
Mm,
line fucking stuck with me where it was like, he's, like, admiring her for not being Japanese minded because he
yeah,
sees them
yeah,
as easy to manipulate, easy to like control and
right.
rule and everything. Because I mean, he comments a couple times. He's like, "You guys are just so polite. Like, I'm just gonna kill you."
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so so when he gives her that compliment of like,
That's a
"That's
deep
the
one.
white in you," like you could be my kid actually, because like you're so evil. Like,
Yeah,
I was like, man, ooh, that hit like hard.
totally. Yeah.
And so there are some really cool uh just themes that go all the way through the entire show, and that's what I think made it like I watched it like all within the span of like a night or two because it's like 10
Mhm,
episodes and I was just like
right.
done, 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 keep watching.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
As soon as I was in. So yeah, I think I could probably leave it there and just be like, highly recommend Blue Eye
Big
Samurai.
time.
I'm very excited for season 2.
Me
If you
too.
guys haven't gotten a chance to see it, go see it. It's gonna make you feel, and it was worth the watch. I should have
100%.
listened to you.
Yes. It's okay. You got around to it right before season 2 is gonna drop, so if anything, you're extra prepared because it's fresh in your mind and season 2 is gonna drop. So, unlike myself who watched it, like, the week it came out, and I've been sitting on it for 2 years, I feel like I need to watch it again. Even though I know what happens, I'm probably gonna rewatch it before season 2 just to get a refresher on all the little details because it's obviously very detail coded and a lot of different things threaded through, and I'm sure that's going to continue into season 2. So super excited for that. Highly recommend, like Garrett said. My friend, my brother, my podcast co-host, let's pass the sugar one more time for our
Yes,
next
my
installment.
young apprentice.
For our next installment of the Star Wars series. And today we are talking about none other than episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. We are back to the peak of the roller coaster. We've gone down the drop, and
Oh,
I'm excited to
you
get
you're
into
already
this
giving
one.
away your feelings. Your
No, I
feelings
feel like
betray you.
I don't think anyone would be shocked that I liked episode 3. I feel like that shouldn't be a secret, right? Is there anyone out there that doesn't like episode 3? Do those people
My
exist?
friend Dan and I get in a monthly Star Wars
Which
debate.
I feel like every good episode we watch, he doesn't like. What episodes does he like?
Episodes 4 and 5, pretty much, and, like, I mean, probably just the originals is what he would say. Um, yeah, but he has a strong dislike for all 3 prequel movies, and so and I'm the devil's advocate in that conversation because as far as episodes 1 and 2 are concerned, I usually agree with him,
Yeah,
but
of course.
I have a strong, argument, I think, to be made for Episode 3 is actually a good movie.
It's a
Like
good movie.
yeah. I we oh, little fun fact, audience, this is the first time in the Star Wars series that me and Trey
Mhm.
watched this movie together.
We sure did. We
We
watched it
watched
on
it over
Discord.
Discord,
Yep.
and so we had live conversations. You were getting the fun facts fed to you live. Trey, how often when we watched that movie did I just say the line as it was happening, like
Oh,
in
every
the
big
voice,
scene. Every
every
major
scene?
scene. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Every major scene.
Yeah,
You had at least
yeah,
one.
no,
Most of the time, you would just finish the sentence if they, like,
yeah.
paused or something.
Yeah. I because I know that I can be super obnoxious when it comes to Revenge of the Sith because I have that whole movie memorized.
Yeah.
Uh, Back in the day, when I got my first video iPod, that was one of the first movies that I pirated and put on my iPod, and I watched it almost every single night. Like, it was just,
Wow.
it's old school,
Yeah.
that and The Dark Knight and Iron Man, like, I had a few, but those were the movies that I watched on that iPod all the time. But I
Yeah.
love and, I think Revenge of the Sith is a perfectly fine movie.
Me
I
too.
understand the major complaints. The major complaints are the dialogue and the acting and that's pretty much it. But I'm like, that is not really I don't put that blame on the actors. I put that blame on George Lucas failing at directing actors, right? Like
Yeah.
or and his writing. His writing is not that great.
I mean, they're saying the lines. They're not
They're saying the
ad-libbing
lines.
like it
Yeah,
was written for
exactly.
them, and honestly, like, is there terrible dialogue? Yes. Anakin and Padme sound awful the whole time,
But is
but
there great dialogue?
for sure, and, all that to say, I was gonna say, like, it's not demonstrably worse than any of the other movies we watched. It's not like they're Oscar-winning acting performances the whole way through, and then Revenge of the Sith comes. Like, it's a common theme that there's gonna be a lot of stupid, poorly delivered dialogue. That doesn't bother me. I feel like it's more of the same.
Yeah, I look back at the originals, and as much as I love those movies, you're not going to hear me saying, "Wow, Mark Hamill is one of the best actors I've ever seen."
Yeah, that's a
No,
weird thing to hate on randomly in episode 3, like, weren't we already here? We
yeah,
just watched 1 and 2. Like, the
it's
acting's gonna be shitty. It just
yeah.
is. But like you said, there's also really great lines and really great conversations and amazing moments. Like, there's peaks and valleys just like any other movie, but for that to be the main critique of this one, I think is reaching.
Now, Trey, uh, you made it a point when we talked about Attack of the Clones
Mhm.
that you felt like that was a good enough establishment for why Anakin would go to the dark side. And a common complaint for Revenge of the Sith is that his fall to the dark side is rushed. And I'd like to hear your take on that.
Disagree with that
Uh-huh.
because I feel like episode 2 was the beginning of that, and I know your wife feels the same way, which is why it's her favorite. I feel like it's different parts of his life betraying him. I feel like episode 2 was everything around him except for the Jedi letting him down, and he started realizing, like, wait a minute, like, maybe I don't like the side I fight for, like, he's kinda questioning things, and then episode 3 comes, and the Jedi Council lets him down. And then it was like, okay, so my own brothers don't have my back. Like, I feel like it was just an escalation of, like, when it became that personal to him, that was when the switch flipped. But I don't feel like if you're looking at it like that's the only thing that got him to switch, then yes, it feels rushed. But there's a lot in episode 2 that he's clearly not happy with how things are done and how things are run and what the Jedi are fighting for at all. Like, that seed is planted in episode 2, and I feel like if you watch them back to back, especially, you watch that slow progression happen. I don't think it was rushed at all. I think
No,
ep-
and I think I pointed out to you when we were watching it that it's one moment in Revenge of the Sith is all it takes for Anakin to start to like really fall fast.
Mhm.
And it's his vision of Padme dying in
Right.
childbirth
Yeah.
because I talked to you about it's the same vision that he had of his mother dying in the last one, and
Yeah.
then that happened and he as soon as he has this vision, it's the first thing he tells her is like, "I'm not gonna let this happen."
Yeah, yeah.
And
No,
and that's all it takes,
and
and
that's all
so,
it
like,
takes.
that
Yeah.
is the motivation for the rest of the movie. I'm not gonna let Padme die. I'm gonna do everything I can, and it just so happens that that everything is what Palpatine is offering.
Right. And, I think there's a buzzword or a keyword that kind of ties that all together. And if there's one thing that the Star Wars movies have done well, and there's one thing that George Lucas writes well, it's the connection between lessons that characters should learn and what happens in the movie. It happens throughout the series, and it's been really cleverly done along the way. And this is no different. One of the notes I wrote was I loved that Yoda's whole lesson for Anakin about being a Jedi is to not care about power. It doesn't matter how strong you are. That's not what your motivation should be. And that was why the council didn't promote him. And that was when he was like, okay, fuck them. I'm the best, right? I'm the prodigy. How could you not? But that's the whole point is like you shouldn't be obsessed with power. That's going to corrupt you. And like you said, the one thing that Palpatine was offering was power. The one thing that could save Padme from dying in Anakin's mind is he needs to be powerful enough. He needs to be strong enough. And it was like that juxtaposition of like, if that's not what a Jedi stands for, then I don't need to be a Jedi. I need to save my girl and my baby. And it's
Mhm.
like, I feel like I loved watching that transition because it's exactly what Yoda predicted. It was like, he's too obsessed with power. That's why he shouldn't do it. Jedi Council agrees. And then we just watch him become obsessed with how strong he is because he had that motivation. And I feel like it was really well written that way. Of like, that
Yeah.
was the
How
overall theme. I liked that a lot.
what did you think of Palpatine's overall plan through the prequels? Because this was all according to plan.
Yeah.
So I think we talked about it last episode with Attack of the Clones about how convoluted his plan was in that movie.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Did you feel that way in this movie? Was his plan convoluted? Was it, or did it like work out the way that it was intended in that it was fine?
I think it was similar, but I think it was better in that it was more direct. Like in episode 2, clearly he was trying to make the same switch flip of like, I'm gonna kill his girl and he's gonna lose his mind, and then I'll be there to collect the talented one or the chosen one. But then he learns like, okay, that didn't fucking work. That was stupid. Let me go directly to the source. Maybe if I start chirping in his ear, I can draw him in better. And I feel like that's a lot more believable. And it shows off Palpatine's cunning and his smarts a lot better. I liked his character so much more in this movie because his work on Anakin was like really well done. It was probably my favorite parts.
No, I so that leads me into the like, that's what bugs me when people kind of dunk on Revenge of the Sith
Yeah.
is there are things I don't like about Revenge of the Sith, fine. But it has some of my favorite Star Wars moments
Mm-hmm.
in the entire series, and it has my actual number one favorite Star Wars scene, which is the opera
Mm-hmm.
where Anakin goes to talk to him at the opera and he tells him about the legend of Darth Plagueis.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard the tale of Darth
Darth
Plagueis the
Plagueis.
Wise? So good because
Really
that's
good
his
Star
story.
Wars.
You know that's he's the apprentice that kills Darth Plagueis, and so when he's like
Mm,
ironic, he had all the power to save everyone else from dying, but not himself. He's
yeah.
laughing in his head because he's remembering killing his
Killing
master.
him.
Um, and I think that the acting in that scene is great. I think that the dialogue in that scene is great.
Totally.
Um,
Totally.
and that is the first seed that he puts into Anakin's head that he can give him the power to save Padme through the dark side, uh, because he knows that story, and I think it's so good. Um, yeah, I agree with you. Like, this is definitely like this is the Anakin movie, but it could be seen as the Emperor movie. Like, he
Yeah.
is actually a great character in this movie. I
Totally.
think his performance is really good. You know, I maybe when I say really good, I should be more specific. I love that Revenge of the Sith is very cheesy, very
Mhm.
campy. It's so quotable. You don't know how often, like, if I suggest, like, we should go do something, and this other person says no, I go, so it's treason then.
Yeah.
And like, I just I love being able to quote. It's like SpongeBob for me, where, like, there's a
Yeah.
SpongeBob line for everything.
Yeah.
There is a Revenge of the Sith line for most things that I
Yeah, yeah,
can go
yeah.
back to and just be like, "So this is where the fun begins." And, like, it's like my little stims. But, that's what I love about it. I love that I know every line to it and that it's, like, that the performances are what makes the dialogue quotable. You think that I would be running around going, Hello there," if it wasn't said that way? Like, when he
Yeah.
lands in front of
Yeah.
Grievous, he goes, "Hello there." I
Hello
think that's
there.
amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, and he
yeah, so funny. Um, I don't know, man. I don't agree with Revenge of the Sith dunkers. I don't agree that it's, like, the best movie of all time. Is it one of the better Star Wars movies? Yes! Yes,
Yes,
I think so!
1000%. Come on. Come
Yeah, it
on.
is a fun time all the way through. I'm not bored in Revenge of the Sith compared to Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. I listened back to our, Attack of the Clones podcast, and you talked about how I wasn't sitting in UN meetings and, like, all this, and I'm like, "Yes, agree," like,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith is paced really well.
Yeah. I feel like there's always something important going on. They didn't waste a
Yeah,
lot of film with this one.
we even paused it just to show that, like, his turn to the dark side, him being called Darth Vader for the first time and, like, "Rise, Lord Vader," that is, like, an hour into the movie. It's exactly, like, halfway through the movie.
Mhm.
And so, like, that's why people say it's rushed, but it's like, no, it is paced really well. You have the opening, you have the seduction, you have Darth Vader, and then you have Order 66 and the fallout of everything at the end. And, like,
Mhm.
and everything as soon as Obi-Wan shows up to kill Anakin is butts to nuts action fun.
Totally.
And some of the best dialogue in all of Star Wars. I know that
Yeah.
entire speech by heart.
It's really
You have
good.
done that yourself. You will not take her from me. I can do the whole thing, and I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
I eat it up. Give it to me.
I one of the
When
last
when
quotes I
when
wrote.
Obi-Wan, that's the best acting in the movie. When Obi-Wan finally cuts off his limbs and he goes, "I hate you. You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you." Like, that is so
You
good.
feel that. You feel it for
So
sure.
good.
It's so good. The
Uh-huh.
whole thing, and for on both sides. I mean, it was such it was such a build up and it delivered so well. You felt all of the sides of it. You felt Anakin's desperation of like one, he's being maimed by his master, and two, he feels like he failed. Even though he
Uh,
got the power, he still couldn't save Padme, and you feel like how scared he is for her. You feel that if he could, like, he wants to fucking fly across the room with missing limbs if he could. Like, he is so desperate and upset, and Obi-Wan is dying on the inside doing that to him. You can feel it. Like, he meant it, but he knew it's what needed to be done at the end of the day, and
he
it
should have walked up to him though and put the lightsaber in his back, dude. Like,
totally, yeah,
walking
dude.
away,
You can't leave
oh
a
my
window.
gosh. That is
But
your
see,
fault, dude.
that is that's such a Jedi though, isn't it? Like the lack of ruthlessness of like, it's enough. He's beaten, he's down, like he's at the brink of melting into lava. Like I can leave him. I can't finish the job. But it's like in those moments you have to. And that's why there's a balance. That's why the Sith have the ability to compete with the Jedi, I feel, because it's like that lack of ruthlessness in those moments leaves a window for them to come
Yeah,
back, you know?
you're right.
It's like there's
Yeah,
something to be
no, that's a
said
good
about
point.
like, yeah, there's something to be said when it's like when you have to finish the job, you have to finish the job. Your morals are still intact, or else, you can't leave an opening. One of my favorite quotes, and this is before this scene, was Obi-Wan to Padme. Speaking of quotable lines, and he goes, Anakin is the father, isn't he?" And he pauses and goes, "I'm so sorry." Before she says anything back, I laughed out loud to that.
Yeah.
I was like, "Dude, you didn't have to say."
No, that is funny because it could
Oh,
be, I mean, out of context, it could be read a billion ways where it's
totally.
like, "Oh, man, I'm sorry about that, like,
I'm
he's
sorry,
really
bro.
stupid." Like
Yeah. He's like, "Ooh, that's rough."
no, I think he was saying sorry because he's like, "I have to go kill him, though."
Right, no, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But in the moment, I was
But,
like,
yeah.
"That's hilarious," actually.
Oh, man.
No, overall, it was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. I like it as a part of the overall story. I think it in all the positive things we've said from the originals and from Rogue One about Darth Vader, all of the hype that we've given him, this rise to become Darth Vader makes that character so much cooler. Like, he has always been that guy and he will forever be that guy, and he is pissed off at the fucking world, and nothing is ever going to change that, and you understand it. Like, it's justified almost in a lot of ways. Like, his life fell apart, you know,
Yeah,
to the bitter
yeah,
end, and he's just angry. He's a Sith Lord, and it's like seeing this now and thinking back to how ruthless he was to everybody. It like
yeah.
it really comes full circle. It really, really does.
That's true, that's true. I like that perspective that you just, had there. Yeah, there's only so much more to say about Revenge of the Sith, I think. It's a movie that everyone has seen. I will say, I was worried that maybe I was, like, blinded by nostalgia, because I talked to you about how this was one of my favorite movie theater experiences I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
My dad took me, this movie came out in 2005, so I was, like, 9 or 10. I was
Mhm.
probably 10, and, we get there, this was before assigned seatings in movie theaters, and the theater was packed, and the only seats available were the front row. My dad said, "We're not doing that shit." And so we loitered in the hallway for until the next showing and then just walked into that one. And so we got the first seats in the theater, like directly middle back, the way that you want it to be.
Mhm.
And I told you, I paused it and I told you about the first time that the mask comes on and you hear Darth Vader's breath. The movie had been silent the entire movie. Everyone was very respectful. The theater was packed.
Mhm.
It had been dead quiet. And as soon as he put his mask on, the entire theater went, "Yeah! Yeah!" And, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like that
That's
is
so
so
cool.
cool that everyone lost their minds for like
Yeah.
what a cool scene that was." I Darth Vader right
Darth
there,
Vader
dude.
right there. I look at it
And
every time we talk about him.
I know I love Darth Vader, and so this movie for me is one of the better villain origin story kind of movies that you could get.
1000%.
Um, like I think it covers a lot of ground and that there it is influenced other movies since then.
Yeah.
This movie for what it is has had a cultural impact. And I
Totally.
told you, how many times did I pause the movie to like give you an even deeper look based off of like the Clone Wars show or the uh what Tartakovsky, whatever the fuck his name is. I mess it up every time. The
Mhm.
Samurai Jack episodes of Clone Wars and like leading into things where I was like, you should watch this because this is when Grievous actually kidnaps the Chancellor and like or this is when Mace Windu crushes Grievous and that's what causes him to cough for all of Revenge of the Sith.
Mm.
Or you brought it up earlier where it's the we do not grant you the rank of master and he goes,
Yeah.
"What?" And I
Yeah.
paused and I said, "Just so you know, every single person on this council has gotten their butt saved by Anakin during the war in one of these previous Clone Wars episodes. So when he says what, it's not because he expects them to say yes or whatever. It's because he's like, but I'm a legend. I
Yeah.
have saved you guys. I like you would be dead. You would be dead. You would be
Yeah.
dead without me.
Yeah.
And so like his his judgment, his anger is, in my opinion, justified
For sure.
that they
For
treat him
sure.
that way, because it's like, no, dude, like he is a war legend at this point, and I've seen it. And so
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith with that context is actually like even better of a movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I
again,
try to look at it objectively where I'm like, just watch the movie on its own. But like there's so much content and media extra that like goes into that one story that it makes it better.
totally. And I think even going back to our conversation of was his descent into the Sith rushed? I don't think so. I mean, maybe it's not all in the movie, but with that context, like you can have single scenes that are so much deeper and mean so much more, and they're not just that scene that I feel like absolutely not. It's interesting because now I'm thinking it's like the whole thing was Yoda felt like he was too obsessed with power. He was feeling himself a little bit. And obviously he was feeling himself because he was the man. He did save all of them at some point. Like he was a legend. But it's like, is the Force like future seeing to where Yoda already knows the outcome and that's why he feels that way? Or is it that he just feels like he does all of these things, but he thinks it makes him great in a way that's not humble enough for a Jedi?
Uh, I'll remind you that in the very beginning of Attack of the Clones, they ask Yoda to look into the future, and he says
Mm,
that the dark side is very strong for some reason at that time, and it's clouding the future. So he might have a vague feeling about like what
right.
something might lead to, but he's not seeing the outcome.
The outcome. Okay. So yeah, so it's obviously just a humility thing, and maybe he's putting two and two together that the dark feeling he feels has something to do with Anakin in
Well, this
some
is
way, but
also context that you don't get in the movies, but the Jedi Temple that they're all at is built on top of an ancient Sith shrine. And
mm,
so there is kind of a combo there where like it's always kind of that way, like
yeah,
where they
yeah,
are. Like um that it's going to be clouding the future. The like the
future.
dark side is present in that Jedi temple.
Location, location, location. Okay,
Location,
un
location, location. Why would you
understandable.
not destroy the Sith shrine?
Right,
I
I was
don't know,
thinking the
whatever.
same thing. I was like, "That's an interesting place to build your temple."
Yeah,
There's a
on
lot of
top
worlds
of
out
it.
there.
Yeah,
But anyway,
whatever. It's like Poltergeist building on top of like the Native American
yeah.
graveyard, and it's like, well, I wonder why our house is haunted.
Yeah, yeah, it's like but it's a corner lot with a pool. Like, I don't know. Um
Yeah, no.
so all that to say, I like Revenge of the Sith. I don't understand the hate. Leave your comments below on your opinions on it and kind of where you rank it in the overall Star Wars series. But for myself, up until now, we have one more episode left, episode 6. So next episode, we'll be able to go over the full ranking, and Garrett will finally reveal his ranking. But for
We
today,
finally get the full picture,
I'm
dude, because
excited. I'm
we're
so
ending
excited.
it with the original. What did you think of this watch order? I need to shout out, actually. We had a comment, and I agree with this comment, and it has changed my watch order. Barely.
Wow.
Barely, barely, barely,
Yeah, yeah,
barely.
yeah.
But
Okay.
it was a very good point, which is we watch Empire and then we anime flashback to Solo. Um, it probably would have made more sense to flashback to the prequels first and then Solo, just because of continuity, where Solo takes place after the prequels. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's it. It was just flipping where Solo is. Instead of watching it before the prequels, we should watch it after the prequels. And
Yeah.
I think I agreed with that. Once that point was made, I was like, yeah, okay, I could see that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, we were kind of going for chronological storyline. I understand why you put Solo where you did because it was kind of okay, we just saw Han Solo die or get frozen. Let's watch his backstory. Like that made sense why you would put it there. But I also understand why you would want to put it after the prequels just for story chronology. and like
Right,
where
and,
it
you
took
know,
place
that was my
timeline-wise.
response was, I think that we watched Solo first because it's just 1 movie versus 3, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But if, you know, logically, I think it does make sense. So, a little
Yeah.
shout out to a comment that we got,
Love
I
that.
agree with you. You got me right here.
But to answer your to answer your question, I like the watch order a lot. I thought I really got the full picture of the story, especially for seeing a lot of these movies for the first time. I thought I enjoyed the character arcs a lot, and their growth a lot, and it was fun to see the story play out, but also be able to juxtapose movies that were newer versus movies that are much older in terms of when they were filmed and the differences between them. Star Wars has come a long way, obviously, but there are still, it keeps that campy, funny one-liner vibe, whether it's the 70s or 2016, and I enjoyed that as well. I feel like
Ooh,
you don't
oh,
think
you're
so?
lucky we're not watching the sequels.
No, I mean the ones we've watched, the ones we've watched. Because Rogue One still had it. I feel like we laughed a lot about Rogue One stuff, especially since the characters involved were characters that come in the classic Star Wars in the prequels. I feel like they created those characters really well in the newer movie that we've watched anyway. And maybe that was just a
Gotcha.
story chronology thing more than anything else that they were trying to capture a vibe. But overall, I've really enjoyed this series so far, and I'm excited for
Excellent.
episode 6. In terms of my ranking, since we're keeping that going, um, I am electing to keep my number 1 spot blank until next week.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm going to watch the last one, and then I'm going to actually curate a list with the number 1 through
You're
8.
gonna
So
shift some stuff
I
around
am, yeah,
maybe?
I'm gonna shift it around and do a final shuffle. I feel like that'll be more fun. So, spoiler alert, nothing that we've watched, including Revenge of the Sith, is my number 1. However, Revenge of the Sith took my number 2 spot, and everything
Okay.
else stayed where it was. So, for review, I have Revenge of the Sith at number 2, Empire Strikes Back, A New Hope, Rogue One, Solo, Attack of the Clones, and finally number 8, Phantom Menace. That is my list. I feel pretty good about that list. I feel like,
I'm
yeah,
gonna give you a spoiler alert, and,
sure.
Return of the Jedi will not be your number
Oh, I
1.
know. Yeah, I have a feeling it won't be, but it might shake some things up. And honestly, if I were to watch these movies again, I could see Empire and Revenge of the Sith flip-flopping. I like them both a lot.
Uh-huh.
I think Anakin's story driving that through Revenge of the Sith keeps it at number 2 right now for me. Like that was a really cool arc, and obviously Darth Vader is one of my favorite characters so far through this series, so I feel like I loved that a lot. But movie for
Mhm.
movie, they're pretty close. It's not a
Okay.
landslide between those two.
Okay, okay.
I liked 3, 4, and 5 a lot. They were definitely my 3 favorite movies that we've watched so far.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
so
I'm not gonna argue with you.
yeah,
The next episode is where you get my final ranking
I'm
too.
excited. I mean, I
Yeah,
can't wait.
we get to compare. I will
Totally.
say that this rewatch has made me kind of reconsider some of my spots, and, especially one movie,
Mm.
is going to be shifted down more than I
Wow.
expected.
Wow. I'm excited. This is gonna be fun. Next week is gonna be
Yeah,
fun.
I was definitely surprised by this, but, you know, it probably just took the 12th rewatch for me to be like, "Hmm." I'm just
Maybe
kidding.
not. Um, okay, so that is Star Wars for this week. Ladies and gentlemen, tune in next week for episode 6, our final one, and we'll have some other fun stuff to throw at you. Buddy, you want to take us out for today?
I do, I do. Uh, Audience, this Star Wars series has been long. It has been grueling. It's been an uphill battle. But we're finally rounding the corner. So I'm going to leave you with this today. May the Force be with you. Always.
Always.
And stay sweet out there. It's a bitter world. I've just been an angry person, and I just, you know, this is the one time of the week where I get to just have some fun and not be such a grouch. And so, you know, it's a bitter world out there. I'll stay bitter for you. You stay sweet.
Stay sweet.
And we'll
be better.
catch you on the flippity flop.
Later, everybody.